Hello, my name is Allison Michalowski, and I work as a Public Administration Fellow for the Institute for Public Administration at the University of Delaware. I work for the Complete Communities team, which conducts policy research and provides online tools for local governments to help promote communities that are attractive, inclusive, efficient, healthy, and resilient places. Today I'm presenting to you on using geographic information systems to support a place-based approach to public art. First, I will discuss the project goals and motivation. Then I'll move on to talk about the planning process. Next, I will discuss the process of conducting a public art inventory, and finally, I'll wrap up with a discussion of creating a public art GIS story map. As we discuss the project, there are a few key terms you should keep in mind. Geographic information systems, which are more frequently referred to as GIS, are tools that record, store, and analyze data and information that is linked to a geographic location. Going off of GIS, I will also mention three related terms: feature layers, Delaware First Map, and story maps. A feature layer stores a group of locations and their associated data in a way that can be used by GIS software. Delaware First Map is a publicly accessible database that hosts a variety of GIS layers that can be used for analysis and to support the creation of maps in GIS software. Story maps are an interactive and visually engaging way to combine narrative with geospatial data and make geospatial analysis relevant and understandable to a non-technical audience. Additionally, we will be discussing how using GIS tools emphasizes a place-based approach to public art and local policy. The Project for Public Spaces describes a place-based approach as one that facilitates creative patterns of use, paying particular attention to the physical, cultural, and social identities that define a place and support its ongoing evolution. Now I will talk to you about our project goals. Our first half of the project consisted of conducting an inventory of art in Newark and publicly accessible art on UD's campus. This step included identifying the location of artworks, recording data about the artworks, and collecting photos of the artwork. We put an emphasis on community engagement and public participation throughout this step. The second core component of the project involved turning the data into a feature layer that could be published on Delaware First Map and using this feature layer to create a GIS story map that we could share with the public. So how does this research fit within our efforts to help local governments build complete communities? Public art is an essential component of place-based approaches through its contributions to creative placemaking and place-based economic development. Public art helps communities develop their unique community character and puts an emphasis on local culture. In doing so, it creates attractive and inviting public spaces that foster creativity and support place-based economic development. Additionally, public art supports local artists by allowing them to share their creative expression with the community. We also hope to use this project as a pilot project to support public art across Delaware by setting an example that other communities can follow to promote their own public art within their communities. Our original project timeline began with the project planning in January and February. We then planned to do the majority of data collection in March and April with efforts to validate this data in May. Then we planned to create the story map throughout the summer. Our project planning process began with defining community art and then focused on identifying stakeholders and engaging with our community partners. To begin the project, we needed to develop a working definition of public art. In this, we emphasize equity in viewing and accessing the art, and that the art was permanent installations rather than temporary or pop-up art. We researched several definitions in use around the country and settled on an adapted version of the definition used in Montgomery County, Maryland. We define public art as permanent installations of artwork that are located indoors or outdoors and are visually, physically, and freely accessible to the public for at least 8 hours per day. Once we had a working definition of public art, we worked to identify potential stakeholders and primarily focused on local art organizations, UD faculty, interested citizens, local artists, and the City of Newark officials. We reached out to these groups and found many members who were interested in becoming community partners on the project and helping with the planning process. Working with our community partners, we conducted meetings, solicited feedback from experts about public art and copyright issues, and gathered more knowledge about art in Newark. We also worked with our partners to set up channels for communication so that they could promote the project and create avenues for public participation by connecting interested parties with the tools to help them participate in the project. Throughout the planning process, we discussed the data collection methodology with the partners. We used Survey123, an ArcGIS app, to create a fillable form that would capture an image, details about the art, and the geographic location of each artwork. This survey technology can be used through an app or by accessing a web link. The survey could also be used by the public and also allow us to enter preliminary data based on artworks identified to us by our partners. After working with our partners to determine the best data to collect, we included the following fields in our survey: artwork name, artist name, year, artwork type, artwork material, a description, visibility, address, and any accessibility notes. We encouraged community members and students to participate in the data collection starting in March. To encourage public participation, we created promotional flyers, sent promotional materials to our partners to distribute, promoted the survey on social media, and sent a press release through the Newark Post. Though we had planned for public participation to play a key role in the data collection process, COVID-19 limited this. By early to mid-March, the university shut down and many restrictions were put in place across Newark. At the time, the survey had only been available for a very short period of time, and we did not receive many public submissions after the COVID restrictions were put into place. To adapt to COVID-19, we conducted more online research into the artworks, contacted artists directly, and sought additional information from our partners. Though we were able to collect usable pictures of many artworks prior to the pandemic, we have not yet been able to collect images of several indoor art installations, so we are using placeholders until we are able to photograph these artworks at a later time. With the data collected, I focused on creating the GIS Story Map this summer. We wanted to use the story map to promote the importance of public art, invite people to explore public art in Newark, and provide information on individual artworks. There are a variety of templates for story maps that Esri refers to as classic formats. Each of these templates unites narrative, media, and geospatial data in a different way, as you can see in the 6 examples on the right. For this project, we chose the Shortlist format. Several aspects of the Shortlist format made it particularly apt for the public art story map. The format is particularly suitable for geospatial datasets with many unique point locations, which applies to the numerous artworks we feature in our map. Additionally, it emphasizes information specific to each point, whereas some of the formats focus on a more broad narrative than individual locations. It also allows for quick navigation from one location to any other location without limiting people to a preset progression through a sequence of points. Since we have artworks on UD's campus and throughout the city of Newark, we also appreciated the ability to separate points into group tabs so that people can choose which artworks they want to view at one time. Lastly, this format is very mobile friendly, which is crucial since we hope people will utilize this tool as they visit works of art across Newark, rather than just from their home computers. Here you see a screenshot of our public art story map, which is currently going through the final stages of review. The story map largely emphasizes the artworks in the map, with just a title and short subtitle introducing viewers to the purpose of the story map. The images and titles on the left represent individual works of art, and the numbers on them match up with the numbered points on the map. As you can see, we created 3 tabs, one that contains all of the artworks, one with public art in Newark, and one with publicly accessible art on UD's campus. For people who are interested in the purpose of the story map beyond the short description in the brief subtitle, we created a point named Introduction that briefly describes the project, our methods, and gives credit to IPA team members and public partners who contributed to the project. Clicking on a point or on one of the squares on the left opens a larger version of the photograph and provides the viewer with information about that specific artwork. This also makes the marker on the map stick out beyond the other markers for easier identification of the geographic location. For works that we do not have a photo for, we are using this placeholder image until we are able to obtain a usable image of the artwork. However, viewers can still see the location and read the additional information about these artworks. As we wrap up this project, we will publish the feature layer of the artworks to Delaware First Map and publish the story map to our website and our story map gallery. Going forward, we will also continue to add photos. This can be done even after the story map is published. Hopefully, the story map will encourage other communities in Delaware and even elsewhere to inventory their public art and find creative ways like story maps to promote this art and their placemaking efforts to the public. I want to thank the Complete Communities team, the Institute for Public Administration, and the University of Delaware Community Engagement Initiative for making this project possible. Additionally, I want to recognize all the team members and public partners who helped this story map come to fruition even as we navigated the new and unexpected challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for listening.